Let's get right back into the Phoenix Truth Rising show. Phoenix operator owner manual, flight instructions for the Phoenix. The manufacturer's name is ATON. We just went over that name and the name of the creator creation. And in this part 29, we're going to get into your conscious immortality besides what is God. And remember, evil is self-consuming because it will create its own confines, and within its own boundaries, its limits of the whole, and it's self-consuming, and it seeks to dominate the whole. And because it can only dominate within itself, its own self-imposed boundaries, it finally is consumed itself by the rushing waters of the expanding one. So remember that, because we're going to get into why you do not have to be an enforcer as well. But an example of truth is what we do and all must have to be. Now, many ones in their exuberance of finally grasping the concept that all is one will oftentimes believe that they must now be all allowing, since all are choosing experience as part of the one. Now, this is, the new age gobbledygook, wanting to get everyone to go, oh, it's all good, nothing's wrong with that. Okay, well then just go smack the person not saying to do anything across the head, and they'll be like, oh, it's all good, don't worry, it's all good. Yeah, what's all good about that? So, getting back into now, all allowing, since all are choosing experience as part of the one. We will hear one say things such as, there is no good and bad, all is just experience, it just is. Therefore, how can I judge something such as behavior or action to be good, bad, or good for another when it is not my experience or right to judge another? What we say to this is, you can allow yourselves into perpetuity, but if you do not recognize those thoughts, words, and deeds which are contrary to life and goodness, how do you think you will reach his unlimited kingdom of conscious immortality? Remember, Christ was always saying, seek ye first the kingdom. That's the still mind of knowing your oneness with God. Does this mean that by recognizing the Antichrist or adversaries, that you must make yourself the enforcer of God's laws? Not at all. God needs no enforcers. He needs only examples be set forth so that ones can see a brighter, balanced, and more loving way of being. Each must begin that journey within self, and as each ignites his flame of truth and godly understanding, so too will he choose to change his thinking, behavior, and actions in order to be in balance with God in oneness. This does not mean that you will allow others to maliciously cause you harm. You must always honor self and God and defend yourself, if necessary, to protect yourself from abuse or damage by another. You do not have to choose victimhood ever, and you must not tolerate or allow behavior directed against you or your brethren, which you know is contrary to the laws of God and creation. Now, having said that, you can see in my last couple of videos I didn't put, they're not by me, I just reposted them, and basically showing some footage what's going on over there in the Middle East. And, basically by not condoning or condemning actually the actions of the Khazarian barbarian Mongolian Asiatic Genghis Khan barbarians want to rape, ravage, and pillage. I still love all within God's creation, so I'm not to go against you in any shape, way, or shape, except to expose the lies and expose the truth so that people can be free from the lies. And eventually, evil, like it says here, is self-consuming. It will consume of itself. So hopefully we can put a stop to all the evil taking place, which is my wish each and every day. Do you see what your gift of free will is, dear ones? It is through your experiences of learning what God is not, that you will therefore know what God is. We have observed, as many ones will say smugly, but God created everything, including evil, so it is just a part of our experience. Remember this carefully. God ATON created human in his image of perfection. He gave you free will, and with your free will, you have chosen to be the adversary and break every law of balance. So don't any of you ever think that you can shirk your personal responsibility because you believe God created evil. Man created evil within his own free will, and with the divine mercy of his creator ATON, he will find his way back to godly balance, or he will continue to remain bound in his dark cage of self-service and separation from the creative spirit of life. And if I quote Saint Germain properly, evil only exists in the intent and portent of man. Evil doesn't exist in nature in any way, shape, or form. You see, friends, your free will is really your choice to make your will God's will, or to live according to the will of your altered ego, which seeks always to limit your spiritual understanding and therefore to disrupt and destroy your creative potential, harmony, and balance of oneness. Ultimately, you will recognize that the only free will you have is that which is God's will, because you will have gained the wisdom of knowing that the logical balance of God's way is really the only way to the joy of truly balanced spiritual freedom. Now we will be defining and discussing what are the deadliest sins or errors made in your experience, which keeps you swimming upstream against the flow of the balance of the cosmic creative unfoldment. These sins are the tools of Satan or the adversary to keep you bound in your illusion of separation from God and the creation. Also, you are kept under this dominance through the ignorance of false belief and the superstition of a false power, which keeps you locked within the spiritual starvation of limited manifested reality. So before we get into the deadliest sins, 12 of them, going along with that is, remember, the Antichrist keeps you locked into self-punishment, which keeps you bound to lifetime after lifetime. The poor mortal soul becomes self-locked onto the wheel of reincarnation instead of being able to go into God's heavenly realms.